We are again meeting the women matters of the Wisdom Factory. It is already end of February almost, isn't it? The year is going ahead. It is so quick. It is incredible.
Mhm.
We will see what we are talking about today. First, as always, the check round. And as Monia has to do something, as I see, I invite you, Lorraine, to start.
Well, I'm going through an oddly peaceful moment in my life, and I don't know what to make of it. So, I'm sort of enjoying hibernating in this little bit of winter that we get here. We had a lot of rain recently, and it's very rare for us to be locked inside because of weather.
Hmm.
So that was kind of interesting. Yeah, my main thing is I've been working on this sort of an essay describing an internal process I went through in reaction to something. And it's been an interesting journey. I found out some interesting things about myself. So I've enjoyed that, but very interior, seen a few friends, but not really socializing a whole lot. So that's where I'm at. Gertrude? Gertrude? I think I said your name
Gertraud.
wrong. I'm sorry.
Gertraud. But the
Gertrude.
French Gertraud. Yeah. Like au.
Gertrude.
A is
Oh,
au.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, it's not so, yeah, it's been quite a busy week with, I had an exciting coaching, whatever process with somebody so a CEO who wants to recuse himself in the next 5 years and his possible successor. So it it was our first meeting in this round, and it was exciting, and I could really like support that person to go into that possible future and see herself. So it's a woman, and rather young woman, but it was so rewarding for me to to see her lightening up, lighting up, yeah, and coming out with all her fears and her dreams um, and this the now CEO, he so she works in the firm already and they work together very well, and there is so like a fatherly way that he is with her, and I thought this is the best way to do it. I mean, you have built the company, and now you take out of these the gems out of your business, and you support them till they can walk themselves. So I was really like almost touched by how well-meaning he is and how supported she feels and anxious at the same time. But yeah, and I love to do this. I mean, it was really really nice. Yeah, and I have to say it to get it out of my system. Tonight, yesterday night, there was a friend coming over, staying overnight, visiting his best friend in Marburg, which is 30 kilometers from here. And this friend was the head of the geriatric clinic in Marburg. So pretty high level. And in December, there was something felt off, but only in January he went through all diagnoses. It could be cancer, it could be, I don't know. And then he got diagnosed with Creutzfeldt-Jakobs, which is the BSE type. You know, the crazy cows when it happened many years ago. So when it comes to humans, it's called Creutzfeldt-Jakobs. And within 3 weeks or so, he was really deteriorating and really like not being able to talk again. And it, yeah, just to support that friend who loses somebody who works on a charity for an African school, and so he loses somebody he knows a long time, a friend, a partner in that, and he took his what do you call it, the flute, yeah. So he took it with him to play for him because communication might not be possible anymore. And he's now on the palliative station. And it really shocked me because, I mean, before he was talking about what they planned together and he wanted to journey together to Uganda. And yeah, so that really shocked me yesterday. And I'm still in the aftermath. And I have heard about this disease, but if you know a person that actually has it and deteriorates, I mean, he was working in the clinic on January 6th, and 14 days later, he can hardly speak. And it got worse and worse. And yeah. So this is my 2 cents. And hi, Christine. We said we want to work to do the first round, and maybe she appears, so we have a topic. So I give to Gina.
Hello, it's good to be back. Before I left, I was on my way to Whistler, which is why I wasn't able to be with you last time. And you know, sometimes if you're really tenacious, stubborn, despite a fall and a broken wrist, you can learn to ski. So I finally learned to ski, and it, for the first time, actually felt good. Took 2 lessons, but my second instructor, he was just amazing, and it was a nice little group lesson, the 3 of us, and I said, all I want is when I get off I want to actually enjoy it, not just survive it, but enjoy it. So I was very excited to say, I can ski. Oh, so that was my major accomplishment while we were away. Um, uh, I was noticing before, as I was coming up to the house this morning, how beautiful the scents in the garden are right now because we had a wee bit of a cold snap, but our cherry trees and our plum trees are blooming and so many things are coming to life. There's just this really fresh but beautiful, organic, pleasant smell in the outdoor fresh air. It's very little crisp. It's not cold. So I was appreciating that, and sort of like you, Gertrude, you know, I had an uncle who had MAID this week, and he was a medical doctor, and he was fighting his cancer for some time, and then as he got more and more fatigued, just decided that MAID was the right answer for him. And it was interesting how he approached that because he was a doctor, cancer research doctor, and just how he chose to spend his last day was interesting. Having his family share that with us, um, and just accept that you know life and death are one and the same, and so just respecting that process. And so I consider that a positive thing because it was a choice at a time when of his controlling. And my real other excitement is that I can finally start contacting my research participants, and I'm very excited to get started. And I've had my first posters delivered and first older adult residents to support that. So I'm looking forward to getting all sorts of phone calls. So, and that's it. Thank you very much. I don't know who's left because I was a wee bit late joining.
Just jump in, Monia, Christine, Victoria, and me. I mean, I can start because my internet is always not so good. So then I have barking dogs around, so I will often be muted. Spring is here. Finally, it doesn't rain for a while, at least. My potatoes are in the soil, the seeds are in, and the mimosas are flowering nice. Today I took from the station an American girl who will be house sitting and animal sitting, and she says she comes from 20 inches of snow right into the Italian summer, the summer not, but spring. And she's very happy. She doesn't even need to put fire in the furnace. She feels warm. I don't, but she does. So yeah, I'm hearing that we will do the topic which Christine proposed today. So I give over first. Let's do it, Christine, that you come last, and then you can introduce the longevity thing. First Monia, and then Victoria, and then you. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we were buried in snow 2 days ago, and now it's all gone and it's spring. So yesterday I sort of hibernated and switched right away to spring tiredness. So I slept all day almost. It was just the only thing to do. I have been going into this book. It's by Daniel Pinchbeck, and it's called Breaking Open the Head. And I'm really, I obviously have a hard time now to get out of this book and to listen to you and to join. It's about magic mushrooms and ibogaine, and yeah, but I had it since 2021, and I haven't really read it. So I'm now so fascinated, and I wonder what this will take me to. And I pass on to Victoria, who is gone.
Thank you. So I'm back. Um, I'm kind of speechless right now. I've been trying to get Beatrice to come. She just finished her last weekend of Sleeping Beauty. It's 3 hour ballet, very, very intense, complicated production with like 100 dancers, and Beatrice had to be in charge of she's the assistant stage manager. But so anyway, so she said, I can't promise because it just finished yesterday and she's probably still sleeping because it's still relatively early here. No, just I don't know what well, Christine, I should just pass over to you, but what I was hearing in the check-in about illness and death and things like that is I just before this meeting this morning finished a class, I guess you could call it, on Zoom on aging and illness, old age, and death. And I was in a breakout room with a woman who I've been crying all morning because this woman is going through so many incredible things in her life herself. I don't know her. I mean, we were just thrown into a breakout group, but with herself and her family and I mean, just an onslaught. It sounded like the Book of Job, and I was crying because it was just brought me to tears, her suffering. And then so beautifully at the end, she said, I mean, this was just like a 15-minute conversation. At the end, she said, but I'm here and I'm in this group. And, and she just listed a couple of very simple things and to try to bring herself, to use the training to bring herself to gratitude. And it was just so beautiful. It made me cry even more, of course. So I'm a little bit emotional right now because it was a very profound experience because it was so real. And I don't know this woman at all. I mean, I just, those of you who do Zoom things, you get thrown into a breakout group with total strangers, but the vulnerability and the courage, it was just, I don't know. Anyway, it was just very moving. So that's my check-in for the moment. Over to you, Christine.
Okay, Christine, Carlsbad, California. Came back from a really nice weekend. Once a year, I go up and visit my friend from graduate school. So it's been 45 years that we've known each other, and I go up once a year to visit her. Northern California, she comes down once a year. And Northern California is it's a different place. Well, California is so big. You can imagine it's different all over the place. But we walk in the redwoods. We do these really demanding hikes because she's very good at hiking. But the scenery and just being in the trees, because there's not a lot of trees in San Diego. We have palm trees and eucalyptus trees, which are not the same as these beautiful, majestic redwoods. So it was a delightful weekend. Had a good time. Always good to reconnect. And yeah, maybe that'll be a good jumping off because, you know, has everybody checked in? Anybody else left? Okay. So the topic, it's not really longevity. It's about having some of your best years at the end of your life and not feeling like, looking back and everything in the past was the best and now it is not. So the idea is that they've studied older folks and found that happiness is definitely something that most people experience. So I'm just going to summarize a couple of things that I took away. It's not about living a long time. It's about living well. And the things that they found were rather than trying to expand or constantly grow who you are or what you know or who you know, that older people like to hone their best friends. They'd like to hone the best that they have in their life and work on cultivating what is. It's not to say that they can't be open to other things, but it's not, because time is limited. It's not about additive, but really taking care and honoring and honing what you have. One of the other findings was that older people remember positive images more than negative images, while younger people remember both and probably have a bias to be a little bit more protective of themselves and a bias toward, protection and maybe regret or fear. Older people don't have that as much. They can look at things and recall more positive images. They didn't say why, but that just seems to be the case. And then presence, I think this is maybe the most important one. Older people can really be present. And it's not because they've got cognitive decline. It's not because they're using denial or masking depression. It's nothing negative happening that's going on, but they live more fully in the moment and more fully present about what is now, as opposed to constantly. Young people are often thinking about the future in a vague way. It's kind of this infinite amount of time they have, and they're planning for that future. Whereas people who are older really are living more in the moment. There's not as many plans being made. Of course, there's plans, but not as much, not that long trajectory. And then the last thing I took from it was forgiveness, that some of the happiness had to do with people. People were able to let things go as they got older. They didn't hold on to regrets as much. They didn't hold on to anger or things that went badly in their life, they reconciled it, and therefore they felt more peaceful and more contentment. Whereas younger people or middle-aged people might still be fighting some of these things and trying to get retribution or right the wrongs. Older people are just more willing to be with what is. But so it's not about longevity; it's about well-being. And the whole concept of time is very much interwoven about how do you look at the future, how much time ahead, what does having a shorter time perspective mean, that you're not planning for decades ahead, you're planning for a much shorter period of time. And I think what Gertrude said is, knowing somebody who has a rather sudden and dramatic illness like that, it strikes fear, I think, in all of us. That's something we do contend with. Well, when you're younger, it's hypothetical that somebody in their older age dies suddenly or dramatically. But I think for those of us who are in our last decades of life, it feels more personal. It feels more possible that there but for the grace of God go I type of thing. So I think there's that change again, and that has to do with time and what we know we ultimately will face. So that's kind of a summary of the podcast. I'm hoping everybody had a chance to at least look at the transcript or listen to it and try to make sense for themselves. Where are they honing what they have and honing friendships? Where are they trying to be very present and forgiving, and noticing things that are more positive as opposed to noticing things that are negative and troublesome. I notice a lot of negative things, but that's partly because of the world we've been forced to live lately. So I know Victoria and Lorraine probably agree that it's impossible to think positively all the time because there's so much coming at us that is not positive. But nonetheless, in maybe the greater scheme of things, this too shall pass. This will not be around forever. So to try to think more positively. And does anybody else want to pipe in?
Christine, you mentioned a podcast. Did you send it by email to us? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I thought it was after the last Women's Matters. I think I sent it out the next day in an email. I sent it as an attachment.
Okay, I'll have to check it. I didn't see the email, so I suddenly thought, oh, what did I miss? Okay, thanks.
Did everybody else get the attachment, or are we talking about something that nobody? Gertrude did not.
Got the email, but I detracted an article about the longevity attachment syndrome or something about the people. So that's strange. So that maybe it was I don't know. And I read it again because I wanted to be prepared. So the 2 weeks interval, it's too long. I forget things.
Well, I'll send it out again, but it seems like some people got it was a Hidden Brain podcast, and the title was The Best Years of Our Lives. And why is it that older people are happier? They've done scientific studies after scientific studies, because when they first found this in the 70s and 80s, nobody believed it. Like it was contrary to what everybody thought about getting older, that at the end of your life, everybody's miserable, right? And so they've studied it. And the person who did the podcast is at the Stanford Longevity Center. But her research is not about longevity. It's really about psychological well-being. And so they studied this, and in the 70s and 80s found that older people, what do you know? They're a pretty happy bunch. And so they began to study why and what's going on. And that's when they found out the things about presence, forgiveness, honing the best of your life and holding on to more positive things. And then they did studies to reconcile that it was not due to masking depression, that these people weren't just depressed and faking it or trying to cover up a depression consciously or unconsciously, and it wasn't due to lack of memory. The assumption was, well, they can't remember what went wrong yesterday, so they're happier because they can't remember the bad things. But that was not the case either. It had nothing to do with cognitive status. So, and I don't know.
What
Go ahead.
is our situation, everybody of us? Do you agree with that? I certainly do. I feel much more happy and much more free than I was, let's say, 30 years ago or something like that. Give over
Definitely,
to you.
definitely, yeah. Christine, I just checked. I couldn't find it either, but I completely agree. And maybe you could send it again because it's really interesting, and I could pass it on to a couple of people because my husband is just right now on the phone with somebody whose husband is dying, and he doesn't want to die, and it's terrible. So I'm just glad that I'm here with you. Because some things you can't be too positive, but you can be, just a little more relaxed about it.
Yeah. The article talks about overall well-being in later years. It doesn't really address the losses as much. I mean, everybody's facing a lot of loss, and sometimes that loss is quite traumatic. It doesn't talk a lot about that, how to cope.
Well, it's interesting. I completely, I can really see this, what you're talking about. I think that's part of what I've been trying to adjust to in the last few months, having really retired, because I was just playing with it before. And what I noticed is that my body feels differently. It's like until I got to true retirement, my body was always in a mild state of fight or flight. I have this obsession about the neurobiological underpinnings of emotions and ideas. And, along the lines of the whole polyvagal theory that I was so into last year, when you're in any form of fight or flight, meaning simply like being alert, you're still a professional, you have to cover your ass, you have to follow the rules, you have to follow the insurance companies, you have to make sure you're covering all the bases here. So there's a certain alertness that you have to maintain. So any form of fight or flight, your focus narrows to the threat or the potential threat. And now that I found that I'm completely devoid of that, not only do I feel more relaxed, but I can throw out certain things. I don't care about certain details. Actors' names are out the window because I never held on to them. And it's really freeing. And I realize how much of my life, most of my life, I've spent in a state of alertness, narrowing my field of focus just to stay on top of everything that's going on. And life has become more and more complex. I mean, that's part of it. But yeah, I really see that I can be so much more in the moment. And it's not necessarily psychological as much as these are my life conditions now. I don't have to be ready to pounce, ready to respond quickly. So it's lovely. That part of it is really, really nice. And, of course, then you go through, well, what was I valuing before? And now I'm valuing very different things. I may not see people as much as I did before, but it feels like quality time. I really get into the moment and enjoy it. So, yeah, and I didn't get that email either, by the way. Yeah.
Sorry,
Thanks.
guys. Sorry.
You covered it. Yeah.
For me, it has to do with, I mean, as you all know, I've been studying Buddhism like around the clock since the beginning of the pandemic. So theoretically, Well, I shouldn't say theoretically. I think I'm still like here on the planet thanks to this immersion. As little as I've gained from it, I still feel like it's been a survival mechanism. But for me, um, the, it's absolutely devastating not to be able to work. It's killing me, and every day I'm in pain because I want to do what I feel like I do best and what I was meant to do and what I did successfully for decades. And it just, I can't get, I'm not able to like put my head around it. And I'm spending hours and hours and hours and hours reaching out to every imaginable person and organization. I mean, not unrealistically, like I'm not writing to, Carnegie Hall saying, could you offer it to me for free and I'll invite my friends. But the things that are would be feasible theoretically, but I'm seeing very, very clearly that it's, I'm aged out. It's as simple as that. And and it just happened through one circumstance of a woman that believed in me, who had a lot of power, that she was behind me for decades, and I didn't even realize the how powerful she was. I mean, that was sustained, and then she got aged out, and now she has dementia. So even if she had the capacity to support what I'm doing, it wasn't underwriting; it was just organization. Um, so the aging thing is very palpable in that sense too. It's like the whole infrastructure aged out, and now there are these, the proverbial young Turks, who have taken over that whole sector of the cultural sphere, and I wasn't the only victim, or whatever you want to call it, to collateral damage or whatever. The last time I was at a social event with people that organized with that organization, there was a whole group of us that all said, "Did you get invited back next year?" And we all realized we were all axed, and it was all to do with age. We're just as skillful. If anything, we're wiser and better. I feel like I have more to contribute than I ever had before in my whole life. I feel like I have a huge amount to contribute now. I could be teaching around the clock the things I've learned, and performing and giving master classes and lecturing. So anyway, I don't. Sorry, this is a big like self-pity fest. But just to the point, I mean, even from an academic point of view, I think yes, the Stanford's renowned for there are some people involved in that whole institute that are devout Buddhists. So I've actually heard a lot of stuff. Um, yes, there if you have the right attitude and the right spiritual sort of, or even, no matter what your spirituality is, sort of the right focus and the right um, way of looking at things, I think it's absolutely true that, and as I said in the check-in, I just finished this class on aging, and it is profound if you have the gratitude and the attitude of gratitude. And there's this other side that no matter if you have the greatest attitude in the world, the facts still remain. I mean, the facts are still there and that's the beauty of the people that are aged and still can contribute. Sorry that was so long.
And Victoria, you really brought up something that touched me because I was married for 24 years, and his career dictated where we lived and how we lived. And I had restarted a practice because of all of our movements, restarted a private practice in psychology 3 times. And then at the age of 60, I don't know, 66, something like that, we finally moved back to San Diego. And I said, I'm not finished. So I went back into practice. And that became the richest part of my practice. And I retired at 76. So I hear what you're saying. You don't feel finished. with that, among other things, more complex. But yeah, and I feel for you. I would love to come to a venue where I could hear you play or conduct or whatever, I would love to do that. So you're not finished as I'm seeing it, and maybe there's some way to be your creative self, because I could see you're very creative and obviously very bright and all of that, and you want to channel it. So I'm rooting for you. Tell me where and when, and we'll show up. No, I'm joking now, but I know these things are very complex. And as you say, there's this hierarchy and the ageism, and I'm sure it's really a tremendous challenge. But I do hear what you're saying.
I have several thoughts. One is, yeah, and I resonate with what Lorraine said. Yeah, when I was 30, my marriage broke down, my first, and I was really miserable. And when I see the two photos from 40 and 30, so I look younger at 40. And I started, around that time, I started with therapy for myself. And so there is a lot that developed over time, and that I was more and more like in my center, and more like taking the life as I wanted to be, not so much who tells me what what to do. And I think that I can very much resonate with what you said, Christine, about the findings, and it's also very rewarding to have grandkids. Like you can just love them without the hassle of the everyday life, and that's and they contributed to my husband getting better. So they called with a video call, I want to talk to Opa. And so that was very heartwarming to. So I think it also has to do with the connections you have. When you say honing in, it's like, what do you value? And connection is the most important part, and not many people party, but more like the meaningful, deep connections, or play wise. So I'm just getting my youngest brother, who is 62 now. He got a divorce, I think, two years ago, and he's starting that process.
Oh, Gertrude, you're frozen. There she is.
Gertrude, you have been frozen. We can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Now it's better?
Yeah, the last thing you said was he's starting that process, but what is the process? Can you remind me?
Yeah, I mean, to look at his life, and to before everything mostly went, his career, and so he was, and they were laughing at me, my siblings, when I started with 30 to do therapy and things like that, and spirituality, and so I think it's also, at what time do you start to develop yourself, or to get more deep inside? I still love him. It's not the point, but there are some conversations you can't have with him, or you couldn't. Yeah. So, and there was one more. I don't know.
Heidi,
so somebody else take the.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to invite Heidi. I think having this new romance and also with a younger man, I'm curious to hear what you have to say about how that, like how your Weltanschauung was before the relationship and how it is now.
Oh, the Weltanschauung is the same.
Yeah, I didn't
Wanting
mean Weltanschauung. That's ridiculous. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
wanting to grow and learn, and that's always the same. And it's now I have a partner to do that together. And this is so important because doing everything alone, and especially I want to heal relationships. And when I'm alone, how do I do that? And he agreed. We met by agreeing that we would do that together. And that's for me a better thing couldn't happen at all. So we are still figuring out and we are in co-regulation process, but so far it's amazing, and I have learned so much again about my deeper triggers, which I thought I had already worked on, and they're coming out like crazy. But now I have the impression that I'm going from one plateau to the next one. It's really hard work every time, but it's so rewarding. And then having a partner with whom I can share that and who is
Mm.
holding this, and who is ready to hear what I have to say with him, and who is ready to look at his. He has not as much time as I have so far because he is still full-time working, but he said, yes, just yesterday, we are not in a race. And as soon as he has a little bit more of calmness, he would be able to get deeper into the things while I'm working with chat and with everything. So got so many insights since we are together because there is a partner with whom to talk about these things. And for me, it's even more deep than it was with Mark before, because Mark was not able to go too much into his own depths. He was afraid. And there were some moments which I saw also other people tried to work with him that he just couldn't. And while Marcus is quite courageous, I have to say, and he has done a lot of work on himself. So I'm so happy that this relationship is happening and that it is a task. It's not, you say romance, and it's not a romance in the sense which I have lived in my life, like, oh, I'm in love and everything is good. No, it's really work. And yeah, but good. It feels really good. And every challenge which is coming, and I had a lot of challenges since I got to know him. But it's sort of coming together now, and he has confirmed that he would come in May to stay here. And how that can be, we will see how it works. Because he must know that at the end he needs to marry me to be able to stay here. So, and we have agreed now I go there next week that we will talk about all these practicalities and see how we resolve them. And I feel that I'm finally growing up into adulthood.
Mm.
That's good. And letting go of many of the expectations, romantic expectations, how life should be. Oh, so I'm deeply grateful. Is it enough for you, Victoria?
Yes, I think I said relationship instead of romance, but I might have said romance just because I'm a romantic. Yeah, well, I
Me
think
too,
ex
by the way. By the way, I'm me too. And I always said to him, you don't allow me to be romantic.
I
But
think
now I understand
expectations
the
could
value.
I think expectations could be a follow-up topic, definitely, because I think expectations are behind all of these things, how we come to terms with, because it's inevitable. The aging is inevitable, all of its death, illness. Okay, I won't go all Buddhist, but I think expectations, when you said that word, I thought that's it. Yeah, that's where we need to look.
Heidi, as you were talking about Mark, it reminded me he studied aging, and that was the topic he presented on at the Integral conference when we first met you. Do you have any recollection of what some of his nuggets were about aging and well-being?
Conscious aging.
Yeah, he was a little bit like you said, and like Lorraine said, seeing the positive parts and letting go of the of what was in the past, which is possible as long as you are not triggered a lot, you know. And he found in the integral community, he found recognition which he never had before in his life. And he found a good relationship with me. And he was, the last years of his life, he was happy. And so he wanted to convey that even if for a long time life didn't go so super well, that there is a possibility that that you can have some good years in older years. So I think that was the main thing. And then he put it into integral perspective and everything, you know, into the um, um, to see what aging is along the spiral and these things. And he was so excited about integral, and he had big conversations with people on Facebook and everywhere. So he found his interest in this last 7 years of his life, and that's good. But certain painful life experience he couldn't touch. That was too much. So I saw that when somebody tried to give him a psychotherapy about his tinnitus, at the end I had to defend him, and I had said, stop it, because I saw him tormented. So yeah, he couldn't go into these deep psychological things, you know. And while Marcus is, yeah, is at least not against it. And I think he is elaborating without telling a lot, but is elaborating a lot inside. And then there come certain things, and I say, oh, okay, you know, and I'm surprised. So I think I found the right partner to do this work. And my commitment is trying, it was with Mark too, you know, to create better relationships, and with a big perspective, healing the world. Because I always think also, still with Mark, if the personal relationships and the couple relationships don't work, how can you expect that peace is in the world when in your very small circle you are fighting? So trying to find out how that can happen, that you create peace instead of fight and resentment and all these things. How to get over it and find ways. That's my task in my life's task, my life's work, let's say. So.
So what does integral theory say about aging? Nothing, right? Is there anything, again, practical life advice? I don't think so. I'm thinking of the quadrants. I'm thinking of first tier, second tier. I can't really think of anything, can't really pull anything out that would be applicable. Does anybody have anything?
I think only that the more you are evolved in this integral sense, the more easy it is to let go and to be in the present and to be accepting of what is. When you get stuck in red or in blue, then even in blue you can be happy, but in a different way, less conscious, no? And the more you are conscious, I think, in older age, and the more you have developed a spiritual approach to older age, I think, and integral people are supposed to have that. So I think that it's easier to approach older age. You know. not being so performative as in the orange level. You always have to run and run and run and run and still be. That's what Lorraine says, no? This complete. I still
Shiva.
have to, and you cannot come into peace when you are in this treadmill. Even if it's not an outer treadmill, but it's also an inner treadmill, you have to, you know.
I think there is an outer treadmill, like in the United States, particularly. This culture's the best of this culture is kind of orange. So, that's the way our institutions are set up. That's the way business is set up. So if you don't develop your orange chops,
Isn't it?
it's not going to be a very good place to be.
I love the idea of orange chops.
Yeah.
I got heads up I have 7 minutes to go till dinner. I have my own chef. That's nice. Yeah.
So maybe we do a quick checkout with what is your take on it now or before, or did it develop or not, or whatever. Whoever wants to say something. Maybe you start first so you have enough time.
I just, by listening to you, and my mom came up. She was 88 when she died, and she had dementia, so not very conscious. But the very last day I could talk to her before she had her stroke, she had a stenosis in the aorta, and which means not 4 centimeter diameter, but 0.4. So she could just fall down and die any minute. And they didn't operate her because they said then she's in a vegetative state and the brain will not make it. So we said, okay, she's old enough. But then she had I had a hard time breathing, and I was there and visiting her, and then she got this like was breathing so that you could feel it. It's really also fear of death in that moment when you can't get enough air in. And when it's over, I was just hugging her and said, "Oh, Mom, I wish I could help you." And then she looked at me, smiled, and said, "It is like it is."
Mm.
And those were almost the last words I heard. So she had, after the stroke, she couldn't talk, and we were there for 4 more days. But this, like, and then I had a shaman friend and said, "Oh, I'm checking in when she died." And she said, "She's like a little girl just skipping into the light and no detours, nothing, just joyfully like and I could feel, so I lost my fear of death in those days. So it was like she could be just with what so not each and every moment, but like really like, okay, I have to breathe deeper, but this it is like it is. And for me, that is something I really wish for myself, that I can be more and more, no matter how the aging process of my body is developing, to have that peaceful way. And when the doctor came in the morning to like to write this paper, he said, I mean, most people get more peaceful in the face after death or during death, but he said I've seldom seen some, this, like, she was almost smiling. She was so, peaceful. And I was sitting there all night, like a death watch, and it, made me peaceful, made me like, this is just the next dimension, and it's okay to have to go there, to have to go through this.
It makes me wonder if there's something we all could be doing now. And I think there are things we could be doing spiritually to help us get to that point where we will be at peace, that, we'll have a smile on our face when we're breathing our last breaths. So it's something I think about is, what do I do now to make sure that I'm smiling and not frowning at that point?
Yeah.
I think we could continue this topic next time and see what we could do now. What is our path towards this direction? What do you think?
Sure.
Quick check out all the others.
Can you spell out the topic again? Because I now wrote down expectations, but what would you suggest? How can we smile when we die?
How can we prepare now? What is the possibility of preparation so that when we die, we
go
can smile
peacefully.
and let go?
Yeah, to go peacefully. I mean, the Tibetan book for life and death is one of those possibilities.
One of my teachers wrote a book on death and dying. In fact, the course I just finished was based on her book, but it was taught by another teacher. I'll send it in an email. The reference. Her name is Olivia Hoplitzella, and it's really beautiful. I read the book some time ago, but I'm planning to read it again. I'll send the information. I have to go now. I just realized because I'm late for another meeting. But thank you, everybody, and to be continued. And I really love your hairband, Christine. You look fabulous today. I mean, you always look fabulous, but I especially like. Of course, you know me with the schmata syndrome. Okay, goodbye, everybody. Lots of love. See you next.
See you all later. Bye.
What? I thought the others didn't want to say something. Okay.
Well, I just can add that I'm more and more going into being instead of doing. And that's very relaxing and very satisfying, and I will continue that. Okay. See you.
Okay. Take care. See you in 2 weeks.
Bye.